Welcome to TimesXP's Indian Diaspora section with me, Tritiya 3. It looked like routine paperwork, numbers, form, signature. But behind those documents, a multi-million-dollar fraud. It was quietly unfolding. Ladies and gentlemen, in the United States, 4 individuals of Indian origin. They have now admitted to being part of a scheme that drained millions from the system. Not through hacking or any sort of force though, but through disrupting the trust. Well, this particular operation ran for years, from 2019 to 2022. The method was simple on the surface, but it was highly deceptive. False tax returns, in fact, expenses that never existed, losses that were never really real, and refunds that never really deserved anything, all designed to trick the entire system into paying out money that should have never left government accounts. And guess what? At the center of all of this, Matthews Chekok. He was described as the mastermind who worked with others to insert fake business expenses into clients' tax filing. The result was clear. Tax bills dropped, refunds increased, money flowed out when it never supposed to. In the meantime, investigators say that the scheme, it was carefully structured with patterns repeated across multiple clients, making the fraud really hard to detect at first. What makes this whole case even more shocking is that in some instances, clients were never really fully aware about their returns that had been manipulated, while in others, they were informed, showing how deeply the whole system had been kind of bent using false information. 3 more individuals, Anish Pillai, Mohan Kundu, and Subhala Suresh, they were also part of the scheme, each playing a role, and now they are all pleading guilty. Well, their individual admission, it reveals how losses were kind of spread across multiple different filings, collectively crossing about $5.5 million, with estimates suggesting the total financial impact, it could be even higher when all the cases they are fully assisted. This was not just a one-time mistake though, but a repeated and coordinated effort over several years, indicating a very structured operation rather than an isolated wrongdoing here. The investigation was led by the Internal Revenue Service, specifically its Criminal Investigation Wing, which tracks suspicious filing pattern, unusual high refunds, and inconsistencies in the reported expenses here. Well, the authorities used financial records, digital communication trails, and tax data analysts to piece together the whole network, eventually uncovering how the scheme operated across multiple locations. The case was prosecuted by the United States Department of Justice, highlighting how seriously such financial crimes are kind of treated in the US. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all 4 individuals face serious consequences, including possible prison sentences, heavy fines, and supervised release. Well, sentencing will actually depend on multiple factors here, including the scale of losses and level of involvement. But the legal risks, they are significant. There is also the possibility of immigration consequences though, including deportation, depending on the final court hearing here. Beyond these individuals who are involved, this whole case, it raises a larger concern about the vulnerabilities in tax system that rely heavily on self-reported information here. Authorities have repeatedly warned fraudulent paperwork can exploit loopholes, specifically when clients, they do not fully review their filing. This particular case, it also serves as a warning to taxpayers to carefully verify their returns, because even unintentional involvement in such schemes, it can lead to legal trust. In the end, this is not a story about 4 individuals. This is a story about how trust can be misused, how system can be manipulated, and how financial frauds, they can quietly grow over time. Because sometimes the biggest crime, they do not involve weapons or violence. They involve paperwork, numbers, and small changes that adds up to millions.